Hello and welcome back to Digital Assets Daily. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in your corner of the world. Ripple moves to court for fraud allegations dismissal. The defendant's lawyers are arguing that the plaintiff violated rules by not providing details. Ripple has moved to court asking to drop all fraud charges against it on a lawsuit as the plaintiff has failed to provide details to back its claims. In the court documents filed on Monday, the San Francisco headquartered company is seeking a dismissal of fraud charges along with prejudice to the plaintiff as the allegations are based on false representations. By and large, the court reasoned the plaintiff failed to explain how or why the alleged misrepresentations were actually false. The attorneys of Ripple's noted plaintiff's consolidated first amended complaint, FAC, attempts to resuscitate these claims but fails because plaintiff still has not alleged with particularity how and why the alleged misrepresentations are false. Plaintiff's fraud claims should again be dismissed, this time with prejudice. As mentioned in the court document filed at a California court, the plaintiff has brought 7 claims against Ripple and its CEO, Bradley Garlinghouse, for selling unregistered securities along with fraud allegations. The fraud allegations are based on several statements made by Ripple and Garlinghouse promoting the company's products and its token. The lawsuit also highlighted many instances for which the claims of the company violated the securities law and also raised questions on the token promoted as a utility token. Fighting the legal battle in many fronts, Ripple is seeking removal of all the allegations. It is stressing on 3 counts related to the fraud claims, as according to the defendant's attorneys, the plaintiff has violated rules. Rule 9b requires plaintiffs alleging fraud to state with particularity the circumstances constituting fraud. A plaintiff who successfully identifies the who, what, when, where, and how of a statement without more has not satisfied Rule 9b, the court filing added. Where a plaintiff fails to explain how and why an alleged statement is false, the averments are fraud or insufficiently pled and must be disregarded. Notably, Ripple is facing multiple lawsuits for selling unregistered securities. A fresh one filed last month by a mysterious Puerto Rico-based company known for going after crypto companies. And as we've reported in previous video and on our Twitter page, we have explained how the judge has actually brought these 2 cases together and combined them. But even to add further to that, as the last case had been completed, we had not heard anything all day from any news source globally. So we actually tracked down the court case and we tracked down the actual court and discussed that we were journalists trying to report on the issue at hand and the discussion for the Ripple court case, and they were freely and willing to discuss that with us, and we shared on our Twitter page. We believe that this is exactly as Brad Garlinghouse states, that this will be a non-issue, and we will be excited as investors to see them be able to take off and not be held back by these silly lawsuits any further. Next article, Ripple plans to open a new XRP Remittance corridor this year, or I should say corridors, plural, this year. Ripple's Senior Vice President of Product Management and Corporate Development, Ashish Birla, says the San Francisco-based payment startup plans to open up new XRP remittance corridors this year. Ripple's XRP-powered cross-border payment service on-demand liquidity ODL has already made some splashes in certain avenues on the institutional remittance industry, particularly along the U.S.-Mexico corridor. The Ripple executive says the company is en route to linking new countries to ODL in 2020. Ripple is on track to open new ODL corridors this year, and we're onboarding new customers and working with existing customers to ramp up ODL volume. In important corridors including USD MXN, USD PHP, AUD USD, and PHP, and from EUR USD. It remains unclear which countries or corridors Ripple plans to target in the short term, but the payments firm noted in February that it is working on adding new corridors in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, Asia Pacific, and Latin America. As consumers and business adapt to the new norm, Birla cautions that ODL volume could look different in a world struggling with the issue at hand. We are continuing to focus on supporting low-value, high-frequency payments with ODL through transaction volume may look different in this new world. In particular, We are reducing emphasis on large treasury payments, which are traditionally used to fund businesses and services in the absence of real-time transfers, to support individual, low-value transactions. Addressing the growing need in remittances and SME payments, this may reduce overall ODL transaction volumes. And a lot of people are concerned about the statement right here where he says, we are reducing emphasis on large treasury payments, and we are focusing on supporting low-value, high-frequency payments. That one has a lot of people frustrated and upset, thinking that the price of XRP will now no longer go high. But give it time. This has been something that has been discussed and was initially part of the original plan, as I have zero doubt. Next article I wanted to discuss is a crash in the dollar is coming. The era of the US dollar's exorbitant privilege as the world's primary reserve currency is coming to an end. Then French Finance Minister Valéry Giscard d'Estaing coined that phrase in the 1960s, largely out of frustration, bemoaning a U.S. that drew freely on the rest of the world to support its overextended standard of living for almost 60 years. The world complained but did nothing about it, and those days are over. Already stressed by the impact of the issue at hand, U.S. living standards are about to be squeezed as never before. At the same time, the world is having serious doubts about the once widely accepted presumption of American exceptionalism. Currencies set the equilibrium between these two forces, domestic economic fundamentals and foreign perceptions of a nation's strength or weakness, and the balance is shifting, and a crash in the dollar could well be in the offing. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with a final thought. Prove them wrong. Remember, this is not financial advice. It is for entertainment purposes only. Click that like and subscribe and share these videos, and we'll catch you in the next one.